Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks for joining us today. My guest is Chris Wark, who's been on the show before talking about his enormously popular book and website called Chris Beat Cancer. Now he has a new book called Beat Cancer Daily, 365 days of inspiration, encouragement, and action steps to survive and thrive. This is a continuation of a plan to prevent cancer and reverse it in some cases. So it's perfect for everyone. I do it and I love it. So Chris Wark, welcome back to the show. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Lori. It's really good to be with you again.
Well, we want to talk about the new book. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. But for people who don't already know you and aren't familiar with your work, tell us your story about how you beat cancer.
Well, I was diagnosed in 2003 with stage 3 colon cancer, and I was 26 years old, and it was a big shock, of course. It's a shock at any age, but I was reminded of a verse that says, we know that God works all things for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. That's Romans 8:28. So very early in my cancer journey, even though I was scared and I didn't know what the future held, and I really wished this was not my life, I chose to believe that God was going to work it for my good. I chose to step out in faith and just believe that his word is true and that he would deliver me. And so I had surgery. After surgery, I made a decision that was pretty controversial and not well received by a lot of people and my doctors, which was the decision to forego chemotherapy and to pursue nutrition and natural, non-toxic healing methods. And I just had this sense that I wanted to build my body up. I didn't want to tear it down further. I knew I was sick. I knew I was in trouble. But I also knew I hadn't been taking care of myself. And I was just so blessed to come across information on the power of nutrition and radical life change to enable your body to heal itself. And so I made a choice to go down the healthy path and just trusted God to lead me. And he did. He led me the whole way. And here I am 17 years later, alive, cancer-free, and author of 2 books now.
And God has blessed you, and through you has blessed so many people, including me, I have to say. Your new book, Beat Cancer Daily, has had remarkable success, even hitting #1 in multiple Amazon categories while still in pre-release. And so given the success of your first book, Chris Beat Cancer, were you surprised by the response the new book has received?
I wasn't that surprised. I just felt like my first book is really about my story. It's about nutritional science. There's a bit about the cancer industry and things that patients need to know. And it was really about me telling my story of survival. And the new book I wrote it because healing is a daily journey, right? You can only focus on today, right? What you've done in the past doesn't matter. What's going to happen tomorrow doesn't matter. All you have is right now in the present. And we all just need a little encouragement, a little inspiration, a little motivation to get through the day and to make choices today that will produce good things in our life tomorrow. So if you understand the law of the harvest, if you sow good seed today, you reap a harvest of good things in your life tomorrow. But if you sow bad seed, you can reap a harvest of disease and despair and unhappiness. And so those daily choices, those little small choices that we make each day really add up to big things over time. And that really is important if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get healthier, if you're trying to heal chronic disease. You can't do it in one night. You can't do it in 1 week, but you can heal over time. And it really has everything to do with your daily choices. And so Beat Cancer Daily is a daily devotional / daily reader that I wrote to just encourage anyone that's on the healthy path, cancer or not. Because let's face it, preventing cancer is another way of beating it. So you don't have to be a cancer patient to enjoy this book. It's packed full of inspiration and wisdom that I've gleaned over the years from survivors and experts and doctors, and of course from Scripture, and practical tips on how to take care of yourself in the best way possible.
And it's not only good for people who have been diagnosed with cancer, but people who do not want to receive that diagnosis, which is why I love it so much. It's so much about prevention. So what do you consider to be the most critical elements that contributed to your cancer recovery?
Well, I talk about this in the book. There's what I realized after I got well and I started connecting with others who had healed cancer against the odds, I realized that we all had the same thing in common, which is what I call the beat cancer mindset. And this mindset really starts with believing you can get well. You have to believe you can get well, and some patients don't. And that's okay. But if you want to get well, you have to start with the belief that I can beat this, I can recover, I can get well. And then from there, there's a few more things that need to happen. Number one is you need to take responsibility for your life and your health and your situation. When I was faced with cancer and trying to figure out how to get well, I had to look in the mirror and say, okay, you know what? The way I'm living is killing me. This may be partially my fault or maybe all my fault. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change my life for the better, to help my body heal. And I'm going to trust God to lead me in the process. The second thing is you have to be willing to take massive action. See, massive action produces massive results, and minimal action produces minimal results. So, if you want big changes in your life, you've got to make big moves. And so I did. I changed everything. There was nothing in my life that I was not willing to give up in order to get well. And so that's important. You also have to make plans for the future. It's so important to think ahead, to believe that you can get well, but then also to plan ahead and to see yourself well and to let your imagination and your hope kind of work together and propel you forward into the future that you dream about, right? To trust God with your dreams and your hopes and give him your fears, and not be afraid of making plans for the future. Because when you make plans for the future, you're planning to live. You're sending signals of life to your body. Another aspect of this beat cancer mindset is making a decision to enjoy your life in the process, and not to look at your situation from a position of regret or to grumble and complain and to let negativity infiltrate your heart and your mind. When the Israelites were rescued from slavery, they had to go through the wilderness, right? God's plan for the Israelites was not to take them out of slavery and dump them in the desert. That wasn't the plan, right? It's not like, here, I rescued you. You're in the desert. You're welcome, right? With no food. That wasn't God's plan. His plan was to take them to the promised land, a better place, a beautiful, lush part of the world, right? Where there was an abundance of trees and crops and animals, and they would have freedom. But they had to go through the wilderness. And it was about a 2-week trip on foot. But because they grumbled and complained and had bad attitudes and even said, we want to go back to Egypt, because they didn't trust God to lead them through the difficult time to the promised land, they ended up wandering in circles, and he let them. In the midst of difficulty, we always have a choice. We have a choice to focus on the positives or the negatives. We have a choice to believe that God is going to work this for our good, or we can just feel sorry for ourselves, grumble and complain, and become resentful or bitter toward God and blame him for difficulties in our life. And so cancer taught me how to get through a difficult situation. That was a wilderness time in my life, much worse than 2020. And I learned how to trust God in a way I never had before. And I learned how to give him my fear, and how to practice gratitude and just be thankful for all the good things in my life, even though there was this bad thing, right? In spite of this really bad thing, I could stop and say, you know what? I'm so blessed in every way, right? I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful to be alive, to have a wife who loves me, to have a little baby on the way, right? To have enough bills to pay my next set, enough money to pay my next set of bills. You understand? So I was just counting my blessings, and that's something that's so important now. I mean, it's a universal principle and a practice that I think a lot of us have maybe gotten away from.
Well, this is such a great book. It's called Beating Cancer Daily. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with Chris Wark. Stay with us.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to cbnnewschannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. We're talking with Chris Wark, author of the new book called Beating Cancer Daily. So, Chris, you mentioned COVID-19. How has COVID-19 impacted cancer patients and their caregivers this year?
Well, it's been more difficult for sure. A lot of patients and people have not gone to the doctor, and so they have not been diagnosed with cancer when maybe they've got cancer. So there's a lot of fear about going to the doctor and going to hospitals. People are afraid they're going to catch COVID. And then for those who are already diagnosed, it's been especially difficult because of the strict COVID rules that hospitals are following right now. They are often completely quarantined and not able to see friends and family. So it's incredibly isolating. We've got a close family member in the hospital. He's had some health problems and has been in and out of the hospital. And it's been very difficult to see him. And so, yeah, this is a really tough time. It's tough enough to be in the hospital and be treated for cancer or for any disease, but when your friends and family can't come see you, it's especially difficult.
You often speak about the power of self-talk. Self-talk. This is a concept a lot of people are unfamiliar with. Why is this such a powerful influence, and how can people use it to their benefit?
Well, I think we don't realize that we are constantly talking to ourselves, right? If you're not doing it with your mouth, some people talk to themselves with their mouth, right? But you are talking to yourself in your mind with your thoughts. And you may be thinking negative thoughts about yourself constantly. You may be thinking negative thoughts about other people constantly. And it's important to distinguish that you are not your thoughts. You have the choice to think any way you choose. And the Bible says, take every thought captive, right? And that is a direct commandment, really, to get control of your thought life. And when it comes to your own, how you think about yourself, sometimes, and I'm just going to say almost all the time in life, no one is going to encourage you more than you if you choose to do it. So you have to say, I can do this. I belong here. I'm worthy of success and love and health. And it's amazing what happens when you start encouraging yourself. You feel just as good as when someone else does it for you. And I talk about this throughout Beat Cancer Daily, about getting control of your thoughts, speaking to yourself in a kind and loving way, forgiving people who've hurt you, and catching yourself when you are tempted to think negatively about others or be envious or jealous or critical or judgmental. Just catching yourself in those thoughts and saying, you know what, I'm not going to think that way. I'm choosing to not be critical of that person. I don't know their life. I don't know what's going on with them. I'm just going to pray for them. God bless them, right? Give them peace, minister to them. I don't know what they need, but I'm not going to be their judge. So that's really what part of getting control of your thoughts is about. That's what it looks like. It's just a daily practice of, some circles, they call it mindfulness. And that's being aware of how you think. And if you're aware of how you think, then you can start to change how you think.
Well, we're going to take another quick break and be right back with Chris Wark. The book is called Beating Cancer Daily. Stay with us.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
We're back talking with Chris Wark, the author of the new book called Beat Cancer Daily. And Chris, many people who are struggling with anxiety and depression have benefited from your book. How do your daily habits help combat those pervasive conditions?
Well, we've kind of talked about gratitude and encouraging yourself, and those are really big ones. Just the practice of gratitude and saying thank you, God, for all the good things in your life. And by, listing them out, counting your blessings. Really stirs up so much joy and thankfulness and contentment in your heart. I mean, it's a huge antidepressant practice. I really think that gratitude is the secret to happiness. But beyond that, exercise actually boosts happiness chemicals in your body. Eating fruits and vegetables increases happiness chemicals in your body. Spending time with your loved ones, physical touch. There's so many ways that you can, even just spending time with a pet boosts feel-good hormones like serotonin in your body. And so making changes to your routine, getting organized, boosts feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. So cleaning out a cabinet, right? Organizing your closet, making a meal for yourself or someone else. Like anytime you check off something off a to-do list, it actually increases your happiness. So there are very simple things you can do, and I talk about these things throughout the book. It's, again, the changes that you make on a daily basis, the small, simple changes will add up to big results over time. And so that's really my intention for Beat Cancer Daily, is to show you that just making those small shifts in the way that you think and in the way that you eat and the way that you take care of yourself and the way that you think can transform your life. They won't do it in one day, but they will do it over time if you are consistent.
A lot of people are like, that's great. I would love to be happy and do what the Bible says about forgiving people and trusting in the Lord. But really, how does that translate to cancer? How is that going to cure my cancer? A lot of people don't see the link there between the way you think and your cancer diagnosis.
Your thoughts influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your physical body. So, for example, when you're bitter toward other people, when you're resentful and you're holding unforgiveness, you are elevating stress hormones in your body, adrenaline and cortisol. And those two hormones suppress your immune function and promote inflammation. So there's a direct connection to your physical health that comes from your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And so if you go through life day in, day out in a state of chronic stress from negative emotions in your life, unresolved emotional issues, unforgiveness, your body becomes immunosuppressed, making you vulnerable to all types of infections, viruses, bacteria, and chronic diseases like cancer. So this isn't, my wacky theory. This is rooted in science. So it makes it even more important once you realize, like, oh, wow, bitterness really will hurt my physical body and wreck my health. I need to forgive. And I made that choice. I made a choice to forgive every person who'd ever hurt me in life by name, one by one, in just a prayerful setting, multiple prayerful settings where I just said, God, you know what they did? You know how I feel about it, but I'm choosing to forgive this person and I'm letting them go. I'm giving them to you. They're all yours. They're all yours. I'm not going to carry the anger and the bitterness anymore. And when you pray that way and you ask God to bless the people who've hurt you, Jesus said, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. And when you do this, guess what happens? That's when he comes in and heals your heart, right? That's giving God permission to heal your heart. Because otherwise, the longer you hold on to bitterness, the more it hurts you. You will develop a sick heart. And over time, a sick heart will produce a sick body.
That is such a good word. Chris, we're going to take one more quick break and be right back. The book, once again, is Beat Cancer Daily. Stay with us.
Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new CBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new CBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new CBN app.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Watch On the Home Front today at 2:30.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? you can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
CBN News, no filter, 24/7 news. Through the lens of faith, from natural disasters to breaking news in the Holy Land. We have access to stars in entertainment and to top newsmakers. We are fighting for your freedoms. CBN News, because truth matters. Become a CBN News member today.
We're back with Chris Wark. The book is Beat Cancer Daily. And Chris, you speak about the power of habit and habit development. Why is developing good habits so important?
Well, at the beginning of our interview, I talked about sowing good seed. And your choices today affect your life tomorrow. Your choices matter. And you have the power to create the life that you want with your choices today. God has given us free will, and He has given us good guidance and guidelines on how to live a blessed and fulfilled life. And it all boils down to your daily choices. It's not some mysterious woo-woo magical formula, right? It's just about making good choices today that will reap benefits tomorrow. And I talk about this in Beat Cancer Daily, this idea of living for tomorrow. Instead of trying to maximize your pleasure and enjoyment today, right? Make choices that you know will benefit you tomorrow. I eat healthy today because I want to be healthy tomorrow. I exercise today because I want to be fit and strong tomorrow. I save and invest money today because I want to have wealth tomorrow. And so these are all just small habits, right? I give and show love today and mercy, and I forgive today because I want love and mercy and forgiveness tomorrow. So Beat Cancer Daily is really about just showing you each day how you can change the way you think, take care of yourself in a way that you never have before, and cultivate really powerful life-promoting, health-promoting habits that will pay big dividends and reap a harvest of health tomorrow.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. Chris, it's been a pleasure as always. Where can people get more information? Tell us about your website and where people can buy your new book.
Sure. You can find me at chrisbeatcancer.com, and my new book, Beat Cancer Daily, 365 Days of Inspiration, Encouragement, and Action Steps to Survive and Thrive, is in major bookstores and on Amazon. Easy to find.
Well, it's been great to see you, Chris. Thanks so much for being here. God bless you.
God bless you, Lori. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Well, once again, the book is called Beat Cancer Daily, 365 Days of Inspiration, Encouragement, and Action Steps to Survive and Thrive. That's all the time we have for this edition of Healthy Living. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Lori Johnson, and we hope to see you again next time. Until then, take care, everyone.